All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday night chart chat. We're going to be talking about, I guess, a topic that's on everybody's mind is when is the market bottom going to be here finally, and what are the opportunities? So, before we get into that, make sure you press the subscribe button, especially for anybody that's new, that you don't even know what the channel is about. Press the button, subscribe, the like button, any of that, all that good stuff. So we've had an interesting couple of days here. The market's looking very rough right now. The good news is, I think we're going to see some incredible buying opportunities. When I say like generational wealth, massive upside, that's not an exaggeration. The bad news is you may have to wait a little bit because we're almost there. We might be there in about 4 to 6 weeks, probably by late April, maybe early May, and things are really going to start moving then. Although right now some stocks are very close to the bottom. We're really seeing a lot of things kind of bottoming out. I'm going to go through all those stocks right now. And again, the real money is made, when you buy, like if you buy a stock that's, kind of got a built-in, you're buying something that's deeply undervalued, intrinsically undervalued. You're buying a dollar for 25 cents, or you're paying 35 cents for, something that's, really intrinsically worth a dollar. That is a great position to be in. And again, let's look at what happened the last couple of times we had a market bottom. We had, I think, a temporary kind of bottom back in March of 2020. Look, everybody was, absolutely, scared out of their minds. There was a massive panic in the markets. And if you bought, especially if you bought some of these penny stocks, like some of the clients that we were working with, whether it was Imagine AR, that was, IP and FF, Nextech, NEXCF, those things, if you bought them right over here, which I'm looking at like March 8, actually those things kind of bottomed out in April or May or so. But after that, they went up, 10x plus. And if you were buying them right in that March to May time period, April-May time period, you're really getting these things like very de-risked. I mean, I always think it's really much safer position to, if you're buying something which has that like nice double bottom, when something is completely, destroyed, because after that, all you have is the upside. I'll show you a couple of examples. Of course, one of my favorites is right now Organic Garage, which is, look where this is. I'm going to go into Organic Garage later, but I think Organic Garage is at a bottom, and we're going to see some massive moves coming up. But before that, let's go back to the NASDAQ chart. We're going to cover Bitcoin. Actually, I want to cover some of the, before we get into the micro caps, the penny stocks, I want to kind of give you the big picture, which is the major market indexes: Bitcoin, Tesla, a couple of the other bellwethers like ARK, DraftKings, Teladoc, Upstart, Coinbase, even NEO. So we're going to go through all those in just a second, and just want to welcome Dino. Good to see everybody back. OG definitely holding up. Esma, thank you for coming back. Spoiler alert here. Michael Mahendra is back. Wow. Michael Mahendra is back. Okay. Things are good when Michael Mahendra is back. Okay. Let me start off with actually a bit of kind of a flashback. I guess, Michael, I think Dino, there's some people on right now who have been watching these chart chats for, since I started doing these about a year ago, which was, I think, last November, 2020. So about 14 months ago. And if you recall, back in last, I think it was that December or early January of 21, I said, look, I think the market is, and this is when things are really starting to go crazy. I said, look, things are really getting frothy here. I think we're going to have a big blow off top, and the top is going to come after Biden is inaugurated, because, again, this is not to be like a whole political thing, whatever. But again, I thought Biden was basically a loser, and there was going to be buyer's remorse was going to set in, and things were just going to kind of fall apart, because it's not just the president, it's not the politics, it just creates, it's the whole sentiment. So like right now, there's an overall sentiment there's a negative sentiment. I think it's also in Canada, the US. People are frustrated with governments. They're frustrated with inflation. There's a lot of bad things that have kind of been building. The pandemic, all that stuff has come to a head, and people are just annoyed. And we're seeing that that kind of spills over into stocks. Sentiment is important, and so I was actually wrong, because the market, the overall market, Nasdaq, everything, made, kept going up much higher. Although, in theory, though, looking back, February, that was the top for the micro caps, for a lot of the penny stocks. Although when we were in the middle of it, I actually, if you go back to the live streams, I said, wow, you know what? I think there's some support here. Like, when that actually happened with some of the stocks that were involved in, like, it probably, maybe I was maybe too close to the situation where, like, I didn't want to believe it myself that some of these things could just fall apart. But here's what I do have to say. One thing, whatever I say, the main thing you want to look at is, again, I have a bias, especially when I'm talking about client companies here, which let me just run a quick disclaimer before we get any further, which is, let me get that disclaimer up on the screen. Yes, nothing here is an opinion to buy or sell securities. These are all very high risk, and you can lose all your money. So, yeah, so talking about client companies, whether it's Organic Garage, ESC Entertainment, whatever the stock is, ultimately there's a bias. The main thing you want to look at is, I always say this, the moving average. So you want to basically be long a stock when it's above that 50-day moving average, short below the when the stock is below the 50-day moving average. Maybe not short, but you don't want to be buying something which is below the moving average. So I'll kind of go through a bunch of our stocks, which are, unfortunately, they are below the moving average right now. So to recap, where are we now? Now, I did say last year, I actually thought, I guess if you want to watch the videos from, I don't know, last January or whatever, my thesis was the market was going to have a sharp correction, a big drop, from February into maybe May, and things would just take off after that. I was wrong, because that correction actually lasted. We're still there now. So instead of being 4 months, it's dragging on 12 months. So these things, some of these bear markets, it's not even a correction, it was really a bear market. These markets actually last a lot longer than you think they will. And, this is, when the bottom is in, is when everybody gives up, when there's real capitulation, when people are really just absolutely disgusted with these stocks. And I think we are getting very, very close to that point. By the way, anybody who's new, please click the link below to join our Telegram channel. That is absolutely free. The link is in the video description below. So let's go into, so let's kind of look at the big picture, and then we'll go into everything else. Okay, so here's your NASDAQ picture. Now, if you've been following kind of the stuff I've been talking about at Telegram, there was a lot of fake outs in the last couple of months where, it broke above the moving average, then, it broke below, and you had a bunch of fake outs in the last, 4 or 5 months. Um, and of course, now we are below that 50-day moving average. And you have a kind of like a head and shoulders pattern here in NASDAQ. It's becoming more and more apparent. I kind of mentioned that on our Telegram. I sent out the chart. It's really becoming more and more obvious. We had something that looked kind of similar last April, but it kind of turned around. But right now, it's becoming more and more apparent. So the Nasdaq is really starting to kind of break down pretty hard. We're really starting to see things happen, and of course, now as opposed to months earlier, whatever it was, you're really starting to see some the fundamental picture, the overall sentiment, whether it's the political sentiment, whether it's the war situation, potentially in with Russia, Ukraine, etc. There's a lot of all of a sudden there's a lot of things that are these black swans are all starting to kind of there's a flock of these sort of black swans starting to happen. By the way, I think if you remember last January, I said one of the reasons that I thought that Biden would be a problem was that he's a very weak guy. I mean, he acts like a tough guy, but he's basically a loser. You have countries like again, I don't want to sound like Trump, saying, "Oh yeah, you have these tough guys," but it's the reality. You have China, Russia, Iran. Um, these people don't respect Biden. They don't take him seriously. And I did say that I thought that China would take back Taiwan at some point very, very quickly. Um, and I think that's probably going to happen. Maybe the Ukraine Russia thing is kind of a distraction. I wouldn't be surprised if Russia and China kind of are having a conversation saying, hey, we're going to kind of distract the Americans or the whole world with this Ukraine thing, which is, kind of nonsense. And then, while we're doing that, you guys can take over Taiwan. And of course, I think one of the things now is that, Biden is doing these sanctions with it. I think they're banning the Russians from buying U.S.-made chips or whatever technologies. Well, guess what? I mean, he can get the chips from China, from Taiwan. Once China takes over Taiwan, so there's a lot of potential bad things happening fundamentally. So this lends more credence to the bear market case. Again, I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but I do think we're going to be going lower here. The good news is I think we're going to have a massive buying opportunity coming up very, very shortly within the next few months for a lot of stocks. But I think a lot of things are at the bottom now. We're very, very close. So most stocks will be bottoming in probably April, May, but we're going to see some of the green shoots, some of the early ones starting to happen now, and we're going to cover a couple of them. NASDAQ, what are we at, 13,000? So we probably, I think, look, you got support here at maybe 12,000, a little bit of support here at 12,000, again, around 10,000. But we could drop to 8,000. I mean, I think 8,000 on NASDAQ would be a pretty good number because that would be a 50% correction, essentially, from the bottom of March 2020. So I think we got a pretty good chance of that happening. Let's take a look at the Russell chart, which is a little more reflective of the micro caps. And this one is also breaking down, kind of a nasty topping pattern here. Let's go to the weekly chart. Yeah, so again, things look like they're really, really starting to fall apart. Bitcoin, by the way, so here's something I do want to add. Sometimes on videos, I might, I give you kind of the thesis, and here's what I think is going to happen. And then, of course, the video is up there forever, but things change all the time. So that's why I suggest you subscribe to the Telegram channel, because, on that Telegram, there's a lot, I put out a lot more stuff there on a daily basis. And of course, there's a lot more whipsaws because, I can say, hey, Bitcoin is turning around, or, I know there has been a lot of, I get some complaints, people saying, oh yeah, they're saying, you know, I'm saying, oh, this stock is on the move. This thing is, yeah, it's on the move, but things change. It's a trading market. So, but Bitcoin, if you recall, I was actually not a fan of Bitcoin, but I said, look, we're probably going to see new highs close to 100,000. We didn't quite get there. Now Bitcoin is breaking down. We're below the moving average. Again, you want to watch this moving average. That really kind of is a really idiot proof, especially in Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, this moving average is like golden. I mean, it's so accurate. Anytime it breaks above the moving average, you have a really nice trend, like you saw from 10,000 to 56,000, and then again from 56 to 35. So there's some great trends, and then you had a couple of fake outs in the last month over here. You had some whipsaws here, but now we're back below the 50 moving average. And Bitcoin again is kind of a proxy. It's a bellwether for microcaps. You have support at 30,000. This is the line that everybody's watching, this 30,000 level. I think we're probably going to break below that. And again, the markets only bottom when after they've inflicted maximum pain. How do you subscribe? The link is in the video description below. If you're watching the Wall Street Reporter channel on, the link is in that video description below. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. So Bitcoin, I think, is the market has to inflict maximum pain, and look, the last 2 years, has been an incredible ride, and there's a lot of people who've made a lot of money. Basically, there's been a massive element of luck, right? So, and our 10-bagger stocks, the Wall Street Reporter 10-bagger, we've had 8 10-baggers in this period, 10x to 50x, some massive moves, right? In a normal market. So yes, there's an element of luck there. In a normal market, we probably would have had, instead of 8 10-baggers like that, with the same kind of number of stocks, we probably would have only had 2 10-baggers, and they wouldn't have happened in 4 months. It would have taken a year. Yeah, for sure, we would have had a bunch of doubles, triples, etc. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing probably for the next year. But yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of new people who got into the market, a lot of retail investors, and they're going to get hurt. And that's kind of the way the markets work. It's kind of just like the .com era, and everybody was making money buying .com stocks. 1998, 99, up until 2000, and then all the easy money was gone, and a lot of people went broke. So I think we're going to see elements of that. I mean, we're already seeing elements of that happen, but I think Bitcoin does need to, cryptos do need to punish people, and then they might bottom out. I think we might see a bottom at 10,000. We'll build a base. But look, crypto is here to stay. I'm actually more and more interested in crypto. I think it's actually, it's here to stay. I think there's some legitimate use cases with some of these, altcoins, etc. I think there's some interesting things out there. They're actually very good for anybody who's purely a degenerate day trader. Some of these things are just, they're very good trading vehicles. Some of them don't have anything there, but again, Bitcoin, it is what it is. It's a trading vehicle. There's a whole philosophy. Do you believe it? You don't believe it, but I think the Bitcoin going to 10,000 is, it's gonna. You may have I think it has look. You have some systemic risk also with cryptos crashing. I mean, you have the China real estate meltdown that started happening for the last year. Maybe their market might be bottoming out. I'm not that sure, though. Some of the Chinese stocks, like I'm looking here, like Baba, I think are pretty close to a bottom. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so like Alibaba here. I mean, how much lower can it go? Can it go to $100? Very possibly. Can it go to $60? Yeah, if it breaks this kind of 100 level, it's probably going to go to $60. And that is going to be a massive, massive buying opportunity, I believe. Same thing with PDD, Pindodo, a couple of these others. I actually bought some PDD in the 55 range here just recently, and taking a bit of a beating. Uh, and I think it could drop. So I think it could drop to $30, maybe even lower. But look, ultimately, look, China, is not going away. China really is. It's just getting started. So I'm a long term bull in those stocks. Okay, let's go into some of the bellwether stocks. This is more relevant than the indexes, which are not as relevant for us. Okay, ARC. So ARC is, of course, this is the bellwether for disruptive innovation stocks. Innovation stocks. What are microcaps? What are the stocks? Like the ones that we have that we bring you, whether it's ESC Entertainment, whether it's Organic Garage, whatever it is. Neuran now, disruptive innovation. So as you can see, ARC. This is the weekly chart. ARC is below the 50 from way back over here, and we're probably going to touch $50, maybe even lower. It might even, overshoot. I mean, a lot of times markets overshoot to the upside or the bottom. So either they go way over, they overshoot from the top, or they overshoot to the bottom. And when they overshoot to the bottom, that's when you have these kind of generational opportunities like we had in, March of 2009. If you bought a lot of these stocks in March of 2009, and you held on, I mean, there's some crazy things. I'm very embarrassed to say there's a couple stocks I bought in March of 2009, which I sold. I took, I thought, oh, I'm taking a quick profit, and when I took a small loss, this is painful. I really don't even want to think about it. Two of those stocks, they became 100 baggers. One of them was Crocs, which I thought was like, what a piece of shit. Like, who's wearing these Crocs? This is 2000. I thought it was a fad in 2000. It's embarrassing if you look at that chart from 2009 to. So yeah, so there you go. But look, it took them to get to that 100x. Took 10 years, and there was also another stock. It was a Korean stock. I forget the name of it. Ooh, that was a disaster. I actually took the. It was like $1 stock, $1.40 stock, and I sold it at a small loss. And the other day, somehow completely forgot about it. The quote came back. Somehow the quote popped up on my screen, and I was like, I thought, what did these guys do? Like some reverse split? No, they didn't do a reverse split. The thing just all of a sudden, the last like 5 years, it just went ballistic, and that became a 100 bagger. So it's so. My goal now is to get some 100 baggers with these stocks, with these penny stocks. I think we have a couple things out there that I don't know about 100x, but we definitely have a bunch that really could potentially be 20, 30 baggers. A bunch of these things right now that could be 20 baggers, whether it's Pharma Drug PHRX at a nickel, whether it's Organic Garage at 30 cents. Both those stocks are actually really cheap and could be 20 baggers, 30 baggers. And again, the real opportunities come only when it's extremely painful, only when there's fear and doubt. That's when the opportunity presents itself. And these bull markets, they climb a wall of worry. So I think I think you're going to know when the time to buy is when you're going to be feeling the maximum fear and pain. Usually at the top is when you have absolute confidence and you think, oh, I'm going to hold on. It's, by the dip, it's going to the moon, and that's it. Um, okay, so let's go to ARC. Yeah, so I think ARC has quite a long way. Not, but it's not that much more. What are we at? We're at $60. So where is it going to drop? It could drop to $40. That's not a lot. That's not too much. That's not that's not too much more. We're getting very close. Look, so you got some support coming up in this kind of like 50 range, and that could be the bottom. So as you can see, ARC, the disruptive innovation stocks, they're much further down towards the bottom than the big indexes. So that's why I want to go through these. These are very relevant. Let's take a look at another bellwether, T-Doc. Okay, so T-Doc, you had this really nice breakout from here from 86 and went to $300. And look what's happened. People say, "Oh, this guy is a pump and dump guy. He's pumping these penny stocks that are, uh, well, I don't know. Can you lose money in penny stocks? You can lose money. Can you lose money in multi-billion-dollar blue chip stocks? Yeah, take a look at this. From 300 down to 60. What is that? 70? Is that 70? I think it's a 70%, close to 70%. 70% drop. So in fact, a lot of our penny stocks are outperforming the index. I hate it when these money managers, they talk about outperforming the market. So yes, if the market drops 30% and, their portfolio only dropped 25%, these guys, are boasting that they outperformed the market by 5%. I guess they did. So I'm going to be taking credit that, our penny stocks are in fact outperforming the market, because a lot of these things are only down 50% or 60%, where a lot of these things are the disruptive innovation stocks are down 80%. So it's all relative. Okay, so Teladoc I think we're getting close to a bottom here. Where is Teladoc going to go? It could drop to $50. So what is that? That's $10. That's not a lot. I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, you have long-term support in this $50 range, from 50 to like 36, 40 $40. And again, these companies aren't going away. This is kind of, look, Kathy Wood, for all the whatever it is, like, maybe her timing is not great, but her investment thesis long term is correct. I mean, she's absolutely right. Long term, if you can live long enough, yeah. Okay, so that's T-Doc. Okay, let's take a look at another one. This is the blue chip. Tesla is the blue chip of disruptive innovation, the ultimate bellwether. And again, God, I mean, if anybody recalls, on our first Chart Chat live stream, the thing was I think it was 400 at that time. And I said, yeah, this thing is going to 1,000. And sure enough, it went there. Then I said it might even go to 2,000 after this, back in the summer. And then we went to 1,200. Tesla is a good trading vehicle. I've never traded Tesla. It's just too nuts for me. Like, it's a little too crazy. Is it a great business, a great thing? Absolutely. Is it worth $750 or $1,000? I don't think it is. But so now what's happening is you see it's breaking. This is dangerous. It broke the weekly. I'm just pulled this up. This is the weekly chart of Tesla, the 50-week moving average. It hasn't done that I mean, I can't even go back. It's like the chart gets all screwed up because of but yeah, it hasn't done that since, way back. Yeah, it's almost not even relevant. But if you bought that breakout, okay, if you follow this trading system, if you bought that 50 moving average breakout over here back in, 2019, $50 to 1,200, 20x. Hey, this is almost as good as a CBDT, almost as good, a 20 bagger as opposed to a 50 bagger, or it's almost as good as Peak FinTech, PKK, 20x. So yeah, so this thing is breaking down, I think, and it's starting to look pretty ugly. We had a possibility of like a pennant breakout, a pennant forming, but that's not happening. Like by pennant, I mean the same thing that you had back in 21. That could have happened, but it's not. It broke down. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I will just draw it for you real quick. This is kind of very rough. So you see, you have this kind of little pennant, and it broke above the pennant. We could have had that. You had a little bit of that happening last, a couple, a couple months ago, but it broke below the pennant. So if it breaks below, that's bearish. All right. Let's look at the daily chart. Yeah, it's looking nasty, very nasty. Where can Tesla go? I think we could, look, you have some support here in this 500 range a little bit, but I think we're going to overshoot to the bottom. We could drop to over here, $72. Why not? I really don't see anything really. I mean, again, you do have this level of support, 580 level kind of, right? But if it breaks that, I mean, $70 is going to be the next level. So, and that might happen over a period of, that might take a couple months, and it's going to be very bad for the market. That might be quite a while. It's not like ARK or some of these others. So Tesla might take a real beating. Ironically, this is crazy. I want to share this with you. I actually saw one of the SpaceX rockets going to this. Like, so I'm in Miami, and like I'm walking. I think it's like around 6 o'clock a couple of weeks ago, 6 o'clock at night. I mean, it's still daylight, and I see this like flash, like I know what it was. It was like a flash going up. It was the craziest thing, and then really fast. I was like, what is this? Is it a plane? Is it like a UFO? No. And then something popped out later, and I think that was the return booster, the booster slowly going down. And I think this is it's got to be 200. I can't believe this is possible to see this, because this has got to be, I think are they in Cape Canaveral, which is North Florida? That's like 250 miles, 300 miles. Pretty incredible, though. So, I mean, this guy is an absolute genius. Really, we're lucky to be alive, to be living in the time of Elon Musk. Really, guy is like literally the Leonardo da Vinci of our era. I mean, he's the Leonardo da Vinci of probably since Leonardo. He's probably the biggest genius since. Actually, he's better, because the Leonardo da Vinci really he wasn't that productive. He did a couple of paintings. I think he only made like 5 paintings. He had a couple of little inventions, but he never really did anything. He never brought anything to market. Whereas this guy, Musk, he's running, I don't know, 3 companies. He's sending rockets into space. I mean, that's a crazy business. I mean, who can imagine this? I would never have imagined that, you'd have a commercialized space business. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I thought, well, this is a joke. He's drilling this, what is it, the Boring Company? He's drilling tunnels underground. I mean, incredible stuff. And he's got the car business. What else is he doing? I mean, this guy, we're really like, and the guy is, is a funny guy. Really, what an incredible human being. But his stock, I mean, this Tesla is going to take a beating. This thing is going to take a beating. I think we're going to see $70 on Tesla. You got 90% downside here, I believe. Again, not advice. Click the like and subscribe. Click the like button and the subscribe if you're new to the channel. Okay, by the way, also NIO, here's a stock I talked about briefly. And by the way, NIO was very close to going on our platform a couple of years ago. That could have been one of our super stocks. But alas, it was not to be. So NIO, I talked about doing almost like a hedge, like long Tesla, short NIO, in a ratio. I think it was 40 to 1 or 20, whatever the number was, because Tesla really is the market leader. NIO is, kind of like a fugazi company a little bit. And yeah, so basically, if you went long Tesla and short NIO at a 40-to-1 ratio, like short 40 shares of NIO for every long Tesla, you'd capture like a nice spread, because you do see NIO is really dropping now. It's so you capture like $100 spread thing. Okay, let me look at a couple of other stocks just to give you an example. Other leaders in some of the categories that we're following. DraftKings. Another amazing story. So this thing went from $11 to $72, back to $19. Is sports betting the future? Absolutely. Sports betting is going to be huge. I mean, these guys are putting up crazy numbers. They're losing a ton of money still, but we're getting close. I mean, I think this thing could still drop to $12, maybe even a little bit lower. There is a possibility that this is the bottom here, because you do have like some historical support in this range, in this kind of $17, $18 range. So you might want to watch it. But again, you know what? Until this thing breaks above the 50-day moving average, you really don't want to be buying it. You don't want to jump the gun. But we're getting close. You can see it's getting close. It's getting pretty close. Here is actually Fubo, which was actually one of our former Next super stocks that we introduced way back in February of 2020. I think it was $9 a share. It was on the over-the-counter. It was called Face Bank at the time. Went to $60, one of the New York Stock Exchange. So yeah, we've had, some of our companies have gone on to, bigger and better things. NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange have done very well. Of course, you saw the breakdown, and actually, I think I had some pretty good calls on Fubo. If you watch some of the previous videos. Now, here we are. We are at what is it, 760? So this thing is down almost. I mean, it's almost 90%. And by the way, where does this stock trade? Is this a penny stock? No, it trades the New York Stock Exchange. New York Stock Exchange company down 90%. So anybody says that, hey, these guys are, pumping penny stocks, whatever. No, we're actually, there's plenty of risk in these bigger stocks. They can go down just as much. And yeah. So basically, and I know all of a sudden now, of course, I do see comments on Twitter or YouTube. This guy's leaving comments. Oh, these guys are pumpers. This stock is down, 80% or whatever it is. Like, and he's mentioning some of these stocks, like whether it's, Cytodyne or I don't know, Peak FinTech or CBDT. Yeah, they're down. These are companies that we have not worked with in a year, whatever it is, and nobody's, none of these guys go out and say, oh yeah, it was no. Only after it's them. But meanwhile, the thing ran up 20x or 50x. In that period, plenty of people made a lot of money, and you had a chance to make money. Again, we don't tell you when to buy or sell. We don't give advice. Nothing here is a recommendation. And yes, as you can see, you can lose money in a lot of these stocks. So let's go back to the bellwethers, and I'm going to get to our favorites, our penny stocks, in just a minute, and talk about kind of the big picture. Okay, so you can kind of see what's going on in the markets. I'm kind of showing you the bellwethers, and as you can see, so why there's a little bit of a clickbait in the video title. It says a word near them. Yeah, I think we're getting pretty close to the bottom. If you look at this chart of Fubo, for example, I think we're probably very close to the bottom. But again, you don't want to be buying these stocks until they break above the moving average, because you might be catching a falling knife, whether it's TDOC, Fubo. Let me go through a couple more. I'll just do two more, and then we'll jump to our favorites, because these are just okay. So Upstart. fintech company. Very similar to some of our fintech stocks, like XTM a little bit. People were saying it's a little bit like Peak. Okay, so that they were saying that Peak is the upstart of China, whatever. Okay. So look what happened with this thing. You had a move from the IPO, which was let's call it $20. It went up 20x, $400, and now we're down from 400. So we're down 75%. This thing is down 75%. And you had a break it above the moving average. Great. I mean, great business, great numbers. I mean, really incredible earnings call and everything. It looks like, so you had a fake out here. You had a break it above the moving average. In theory, this looked like it could have been a bottom here at $100 because you had that. This could have been a double bottom. In theory, it could have been a double bottom, easily. But it looks like we're going to test that $100. Very probably hit $45, and that's going to be your bottom, most likely. And from there, look, these are great businesses. You got to realize these are really great business. Tesla's a great business. So once these things bottom out, that's the thing. That's what I'm really talking about in this video title. I think we're getting very close to the bottom, whether it's a stock like Upstart, or whether it's DraftKings, Fubo, Teladoc, ARK. Tesla's going to take a little while to bottom because that one has so many believers. It's almost like Bitcoin, Tesla. These things have so many believers. It's just going to take a little bit longer for people to get that capitulation kick in, and that's probably going to happen. Maybe might be a couple more months for those guys, but these things are getting close to the bottom. One last one here, Coinbase. Again, this is pure play on crypto. These guys are doing amazing numbers. I made a mistake. I actually bought this thing in the 250 range just recently. As you can see, that was very stupid because, unfortunately, I have a bad habit of, kind of jumping the gun and anticipating that something is going to break out above the moving average. I like to get positioned in it before because I think it's going to happen. And sometimes you're right and you get in early and it's a great position, but it's not the really smart thing to do because, as you can see, the smart thing would have been to wait before it breaks out above the moving average. And, there's a little bit of pain here. There's a bit of a hit. I think we're probably going to be bottoming right around here, maybe in this kind of 170-ish range. These guys are putting out incredible numbers. But I think, again, the buying opportunity is going to be once it breaks out above the moving average. And again, this chart, there's not a lot of data on the chart. So this is not, this is really not a good trading chart yet. Okay. With that said, let's talk about, what we're really here for is the penny stocks making the massive money. So my thesis right now is that a lot of the penny stocks right now are bottoming out. Some of them have bottomed or they're bottoming out, and we're going to see massive moves starting to happen after April. So April, May, we're going to start seeing things really explode. Very similar to what we saw almost 2 years ago with, I think it's going to be a replay of 2020, May of 2020, when people, they capitulated on a lot of these things and then things started running. Okay, so let me just go through a couple of comments. Let me just catch up with things, and then I will, I'll start talking about some of our penny stocks. So by the way, I really believe that we're going to see we're starting to see massive bottoms happening between now and April. This is the time that you want to be planting the seeds to be harvesting the crops in let's call it next November, because it's going to take about 6 months for these things to become 10 baggers. The seeds of the 10 baggers are being planted right now, and I'm actually getting ready to make some big moves in a couple of things. I'll be telling you about those later, but yeah, I think there's some incredible opportunities coming up. A lot of 5 to 25 cent stocks that are look exactly like stuff that we saw in 2020 when things went up 10x. Okay, so let me just pull up this chart here, which I think is going to be one of our first early runners. But before I get into that, let me just go see if I can answer any questions or comments. I'll jump into that. Why am I buying Chinese stocks? You know what? What is it? What's that thing? Money knows no color, or bedfellows. Politics makes straight. It's it's a good. This is business, man. It's it's this is. I think Look, China is the future. I'm not a fan of their government. Um, I think they're doing a lot of disgusting things. But there's a difference between the government, the Chinese people, the business. They're these companies they're they have to be kind of pragmatic. So they're kind of playing along, and I think this guy, what's his name? Whatever his name, the guy who's running the country now. I keep forgetting his name. I think he's up for, what is it? They have some sort of re-election thing happening with this. So either I think it's coming up right now. So either he becomes the leader for life, which would be, I think it would be very bad for the world if he becomes the leader for life, or they might kick him out. So a lot of you don't know. It's kind of a very opaque system. I have no idea what those guys. I no idea. I have a basic idea of what the Russians are doing, but the Chinese are like. I don't have the Chinese mindset, so I have no idea. It's like flip a coin. Okay, Telegram. Click the link in the video description below. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, DWAC. Yeah, I don't know. The Trump thing, again, I'm a fan of Trump. I don't know how well his media business is going to work. That's like really, because you have the incumbents right now, whether it's Twitter, these other guys, they're in a very, very strong position. It's very hard to knock these guys out with Facebook, Google. Unfortunate. Interesting, Jimmy. Yeah, so these meme stocks, which are really just like absolute bullshit, whether it's GameStop or the other one, which AMC. AMC, I mean, theaters. I think theaters are going to be obsolete. I've talked about the reasons why. But yeah, I think GameStop, I mean, this chart is again, we're below the moving average. This thing is just it's gonna have a long, slow decline because these believers, these true believers, they're gonna be holding. They're never gonna sell. I think there's a crazy cult mentality. Some of these guys probably have taken physical delivery of the certificates. They probably have their Jimmy stock certificates on their walls. The grandchildren are going to inherit these things. Yeah, I mean, compare market cap to these things are all ridiculous. It is not. It's about it's about nonsense. Crypto will crash. The government will take over. That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. Last year, whatever it was. I think because I thought stuff is crazy. I mean, there's really nothing underlying it, but it's become its own thing. So yeah, who knows? But look, you have some of these there's some interesting things in the crypto space. It's highly, highly speculative. Yeah, there we go. Tomorrow, yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting question. There's a good chance, again, like, markets do tend to overextend, either overshoot, I should say, either to the top or to the bottom. Just like you saw in, 2009, March of 2009, stocks like, really overextended to the bottom. It was like, the S&P was at 666, 666, a satanic buying opportunity. There is a shot. I mean, I think the odds of things going below the March 20, like indexes and things like that, it's actually pretty good. I think it's probably a 40% chance. If I had to make a bet, I'd say it's a 40% probability, you know? Let's see. Okay. T-Doc. Tetra, yeah. We haven't worked with Tetra in since September, so I don't even know what's going on there. I am extremely bullish on gold. I mean, I guess silver. I don't really follow. I don't really follow silver, but I really think the gold mining stocks are going to explode. I mean, really, yeah, I'm very bullish on gold. I think gold alt is going to be 5,000 at some point. Tesla, yeah. DWAC will be the next Tesla. I don't think so. Yeah, look, I'm a fan of Musk, the stock, but the stock is the stock. No, this is absolutely not. No, these things are not They're really not correlated at all. And again, OG Organic Garage has massive, massive fundamentals in there. So yeah, I mean, it's yeah. And I'm gonna punch that up in just a second. Let's see. Yeah. So this is, by the way, this is one of the things. Again, one of the reasons I really dislike Biden. I don't want to use the word I hate, because that's like so like. Look, the Biden, and it's kind of sad to say this, because this is the very important position. This is the guy who, you want him to do well. The president, you want the president of the country to do well, because that's the leader. That's like the cheerleader. And that's the main job, is to have a good, like, cheerleader, like a rah guy, like, Reagan was that guy. Clinton, he wasn't as much rah, but he was a positive guy. Trump was that guy. For some reason, people didn't like the way he said certain. But that's the big thing. People are like, oh, the way he says this. Oh, his demeanor, this way. Speaking of which, okay, if you want to see an absolute scumbag, and why I think Biden is an absolute scumbag, is, I mean, of course, he's got a long history of lying and, plagiarism, lying, just everything else. But I would suggest you watch the vice presidential debate of 2008. Was it 2012 with Ryan? He was debating Paul Ryan. It was 2012, right? And these guys usually, presidential debate, usually, these guys, it's a little rough, but they're respectful, at least, right? If you can find this debate on YouTube, Biden basically, and Paul Ryan is a very respectful guy. I don't really care politics, whatever. And Biden basically, to undercut, Ryan, he was like, every time Ryan would answer something, he would like start doing this like maniacal laugh, like oh, like this crazy laugh to make the other guy look stupid. I mean, it was really. I mean, maybe am I the only person that saw this and thought this guy is an absolute piece of shit? But yeah, I mean, the guy is an absolute piece of shit. I mean, you can look at his son, Hunter. I mean, the fruit does not fall far from the tree. And why is this guy so interested in the Ukraine? Why is he trying to push a war? I mean, if you look at it, I mean, he's constantly saying, "Oh, you know, they're going to invade. I know they're invading. Putin is invading. They're invading. They're not invading. I mean, they weren't invading now. But the problem is now. I think the Russians might be kind of pushed into doing it. But why is Biden, so eager for a war to start? Why is the mainstream media so eager? Why? Okay, CNN, all these other guys. Why are they so eager on this? Why? Because it's ratings. I mean, these people, they don't give a shit about anything else except ratings, advertising dollars. I mean, Trump was the best thing that ever happened to CNN. I mean, they made a fortune from advertising, from the New York Times, everybody else. They're really hoping for a war to break out in the Ukraine and Russia because they could talk about this for the next, however long. This is advertising dollars. And by the way, all of a sudden you have the Russia collusion thing has been absolutely proven to be a lie planted by Hillary. I mean, we're seeing all this stuff. All of a sudden now it's coming out now. And hey, it may be only a matter of time before we find out that I have to watch what I say because there's an algorithm on YouTube which probably doesn't. But that thing that happened, what is it, November? Where they choose the president. So I think that thing was rigged because there's no way that a guy who's hiding in his basement could win an election. Guy who's packing stadiums with thousands of people. It doesn't make any sense. So we're going to see some crazy things possibly happening. But okay, so let me get into. But yeah. We're not here to talk about politics. We're here to make money. So if you ask me about China stocks, am I a fan of China? No, but would I buy a stock that Biden is involved in, Halliburton or whatever? Yeah, I think Halliburton is actually going to do very well. Let me see what else. By the way, also of course, where was Hunter Biden getting? Who's paying Hunter Biden? The Ukraine, I think not the Russian, but definitely the Ukraine, definitely China. I mean, we see we saw that from the laptop, all the stuff. I mean, it's out there. I mean, Biden is on the payroll of China. We know for a fact that Biden is China's man, and he's got he has financial connections to. I don't think the government, not the government of the Ukraine, but what is it, Burisma, the oil. He has a vested interest. Okay, so let's see, Skylight. Oh, Skylight. Wow, yeah, geez. So that was, yeah, I mean, Skylight. Yeah, that's a big bag over there. Again, you know what? I blame that really on it's a decision of the CEO. Because look, if this guy was promoting that stock, it wouldn't be where it is. It would be, hang on. Okay, the internet froze. It's probably the deep state, the deep state hacking into the computer here. Yeah, so let me just show you something. This is very interesting. What's that other Canadian stock that trades the other healthcare? Not the Cloud MD, but the other one that was the big leader. I'm trying to think of it. Anyway, the name will come. Anyway, so that stock is also down because it kind of follows Teladoc, but it's only down by, I don't know, 40, 50% or so. Whereas Cloud MD is down by look, this thing is making a round trip to right where the price where we introduced it. I mean, it's going to go to 50 cents at this point. But yeah, look, this thing was $3, right? And here, I mean, this thing could have gone to $5. I really believe it could have gone to $5. But the problem is, look, if once a company builds a retail following and then you just abandon that retail following without a backup plan, institutions, this is what happens. I mean, and I think this guy Prad basically was following the following the Cloud MD playbook, and you saw what happened there. So both stocks look, their charts look the same. I mean, to be honest, look, Teladoc, you know, is kind of the leader in that space, and you see all those things dropping. But what's the other guy? I'm trying to think. Somebody maybe can mention. What's the other Canadian health tech deal? Let me see if anybody came up with a name. What is the guy's name? Shit, I forgot his name. He actually called me. I was very flattered. The guy called me regarding a stock he was involved in, and I didn't take it on because I thought the stock was a piece of shit. I mean, I thought it was a piece of shit. It was like an $8 or $10 stock last year. Yeah, no way Tesla's going to 7. Let's find out. I mean, I don't have a horse in the game or whatever. What is it called? A dog in the fight, or whatever. I think that's what the chart is saying. I'm just saying what the chart is saying, man. Yeah. Tesla. I don't think the market. I think that it will be a problem. I think it will be a problem if Tesla goes below 100. For that's the thing that might drag the indexes below the March lows of 2020. Oh no, geez, no. By the way, speaking of carbon credits, we're going to be introducing a new stock tomorrow, which is really very, very exciting. Deep market, MKT in Canada is the symbol deep, MKTF US. What these guys are doing is really interesting. They're essentially helping monetize carbon credits with blockchain and NFTs. You got to really have them explain to you. I don't know how to explain it, but it actually makes sense, because when I first heard it, I was like, well, I don't want to hear about carbon credits, whatever. Like, I don't really believe in this bullshit. Global warming and the whole carbon credit thing is bullshit. But I don't believe in Bitcoin either, or not as much really. But this is a business. It's like China. I mean, what are we going to ignore the reality? I mean, the carbon credit market is this is a massive trend. This is not going away. The carbon credit thing is going to be huge over the next couple of years. Trillions of dollars will be made. Hey, man, I would love to talk about Pratt, because I think the guy had a great thing going. I think the guy's a tremendous salesman, great promoter. I think he's made a huge mistake for dropping retail market support. I mean, I don't know. This is the stupidest thing. I mean, the guy's not stupid. He's a smart guy. Why would he do this? I don't know. I think everybody should be calling up and saying, hey, man, I don't care where you promote it, just you got to start promoting the stock. I mean, that's the business you're in, man. You're running a public company. Your business is the stock. That's your business. It's not healthcare. Your business is the stock. Make the stock go up. That's your business. Nobody cares. Yeah, and where are the acquisitions? You can't do any acquisitions when your stock is in the shitter. Come on. I agree with this comment. How fair is what about? Yeah, I don't know. Biden or monthly low. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I don't know. It's listen. Some of these companies, they don't have a lot of choice. CBDT did a raise at 20 cents recently. I mean, the guy could have done a raise at $1.50 last year. I don't know. He kind of fell off the radar. Why? I'm annoyed with that, because that stock shouldn't have dropped. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of, unfortunately, we're at the mercy of the whims of other humans, the CEOs running these companies. It could be for there's positives and there's negatives. It's just like we're dealing with human beings. We don't know what they're up to. Okay, we're gonna be talking about this in a second. I'm gonna catch up to. We're gonna go to the charts in just a second. Cannabis. I think cannabis is gonna come back at some point, because I think cannabis is gonna be big. think cannabis. Uh, yeah. Oh, Bruce. Oh, what's his name? The guy from Stone Castle, Bruce. Very bullish on cannabis. I think the cannabis also very a lot of those charts are very close to a bottom. I think we're going to start seeing some real bottoms there. And you got to get in when everybody hates these things. DWAC. Let me look at this DWAC chart. I haven't even looked at this thing. I mean, I don't even know what's going on there. Wow, it's crazy. Hey, what can I tell you? The chart. Listen, whatever comments I was making, like off the top, you know, this chart does not look like a chart that wants to go down. You're above the moving average. I mean, again, there's not a lot of data here. I don't really know what these guys like, but I mean, this thing has been holding up for quite a few months, and it's not going down. So, that's pretty interesting. That's actually pretty interesting. Really interesting. So, yeah. Could be the king of the mean spot. Visby getting into the bottom. Yeah, we're going to look at the Visby chart. Yeah, by the way, I'd love to have Jay back on. He was supposed to be on, but he's saying, well, I want to come back only when we have some real fundamentals to talk about. I don't know. So I'm waiting for him to come back. I mean, anytime. I mean, these guys are welcome. Anytime. I'm happy to have CEOs on, I don't not weekly, but at least every 2 weeks. It's bare minimum. We got to have these guys on. It's when these guys go off the radar, the stocks drop. That's kind of the reality. Lucid. Okay, so the EV sector. I'm just gonna punch this up only because Lucid looks like absolute shit right here. It wants to go down, and again, you're below the moving average from way back here. It's like just wants to go down. But you know what? Look, you got support coming up at a little bit of support coming up here in like $24 or $20 range. You have support in that 24, 20 range. But you know what? If it breaks that, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about it. I mean, I think the cars actually look pretty cool. I mean, it's not my thing. I mean, I think Tesla is the ugliest cars, but people love them. Yeah, listen, Osama, Osama bin Laden was absolutely right about Biden. He basically famously said, Obama, basically, he says Obama is a legitimate target. If you can, kill Obama, great, but don't touch Biden. Don't touch Biden because if Biden becomes president, he will lead America into a crisis. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is out there. This is matter of public record. So I agree. I agree with Osama. I mean, we agree on certain things. Let's see. Well Health. That's the guy. That's the guy. Thank you. Yeah, let me punch it up just to give you an example of a guy who's a good promoter. I think these guys have, from what I understand, have done nonstop promotion, basically. Yeah, look at this. I mean, relatively speaking, this thing has held up substantially better than CloudMD or Skylight, which are basically in the same group. So this thing popped like from here. Was it a buck? Let's call it this dollar range. Went to $9, and from $9, it's only down 50%. And it's been a very managed kind of decline. So and the others are down 75 80%, right? So this is not bad. It's actually not bad. This goes to show you that why the value of, building a retail support, market support, it's extremely important. It's not just for, it's not a pump and dump. It's extremely important. Yes, well health technologies. By the way, I have nothing to do with well. I have no involvement with well. Mm, yeah, yep. Let me just catch up to. Okay. All right. More importantly, let's get into our favorite stocks. This is what this is really all about. Now, I here is a bit of a what do you call it? What do they call that? Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! A lot of the charts are looking pretty ugly. I mean, again, I'm very biased. I always want these things to go up, but when they're below the moving average, it is what it is, right? So I have to look at these things objectively, right? So again, everything here is opinion only. I'm not talking about company information. This is not the fundamental. This is purely chart opinion. Okay, nothing to do with we're not being paid to talk about charts. Okay, so organic garage, I believe we are at a bottom. We are below the moving average. I believe we're at a bottom, and it's going to break above the moving average. We're getting very close. I mean, very, very close. We're probably within 2 weeks away from the convergence. Let me just draw you something. The big green line. This is not exactly accurate, but okay. So here you have this is basically your support level. You had another level which was a little bit higher than this. It was right around 32 cents. 32 cents, we broke below it. So you got support at 30 cents. Okay, you have this massive, I think, triangle and like pennant double bottom thing happening. You have a really nice, beautiful chart happening right now. And I think we're going to be building into a really beautiful base. I suggest you watch the video that we had with Matt the other day from the store. You got to understand where these guys are going. They're it's not Organic Garage. I'm sorry. It's Origin Foods. So this is very smart. They're changing the name of the company. So basically, they have the retail side, the CPG side. At some point, I think they're probably going to spin out the CPG business or whatever. So this thing is getting set up for something big. I am very bullish on it. Watch that video with Matt. I talk about why this thing could be a $9 stock. I know it sounds crazy. I know everything. Oh, the promotion. Oh, he's hyping it. What are your fundamental? Well, we talk about the fundamental reasons why it could be $9. Watch the video. It's very simple, very self-explanatory. Based on the market comps for the CPG, for the retail, if they do X, Y, and Z, all they got to do is just open the 4 new stores, do 25 million in CPG business, which is very easy to do. So these are low-hanging fruits, low bars. This is not a big, this is not like, we're going into the rocket business. We're not commercializing space or creating electric vehicles. Those are hard businesses. Okay, those are really difficult businesses. Opening 4 organic garage stores when you already have the template is easy, and the guy's already. I think he's probably going to be announcing leases of 4 stores soon, very soon. I know he's shopping around. So $9. Yeah. So watch that video. You'll understand. Avoiding TBP like the plague. Yeah. Look, TBP, what can I tell you? I mean, shit. I mean, all I can say is, we introduced the stock at, it was, I think, 17 cents. It went to 50 cents. There was a triple right there. So there's an opportunity to make money. The guy did the finance. And what can I tell you? There was a finance. it wasn't done well. That's a fact. So and then they stopped doing the promotion. Once they stopped doing the marketing, the retail support, what do you expect to happen when you have no retail support for a stock like that? It goes down. Yeah, I mean, listen, this Origin Foods Organic Garage, I think is going to be a massive winner. Okay, so let's go into the next one. Neuran. This is one of our new ones, by the way. I want to make one important comment. I highly recommend for anybody that's new or whatever, you watch the video I put up yesterday, which was sort of like an educational video, webinar on finding what the methodology of finding these next super stocks. What is involved in kind of like the game plan for 2022? And I said something about look. Everything at some point reverts to trend or reverts to the mean. So, normally in a normal situation, with this 10-bagger formula, next super stock formula, I expect that, and I talk about this in that webinar. Again, please watch it. Look, when we introduce 10 stocks, I expect, 1.5, 2 of them to become 10-baggers or higher. 3, 4 of them to be, triples, 5X, whatever. And I fully expect, 4 of them to go bust completely to zero, but if you have those few winners, that pays for everything else, and that gives you a 100x, 130, 150% IRR basically. If you do this over a period of time, that's what I believe. So, this will happen. But sometimes what happens is, like last, 2020, school of 2020, instead of having 2 of these stocks become 10x, we had like 8. So things went way overextended, again, way overextended. And last year, in 2021, they went way below the mean, because last year we had 0 10-baggers. We had 0 10-baggers. Visby is a 10-bagger, but it doesn't really count because that was a stock introduced in 2020, November of 2020 at 17 cents. The only real wins we had in 20 last year was TBP was a triple, Organic Garage was a double. Both of them pulled back. TBP, forget about that one, but Organic Garage is, that double. I think we're going to make a run again. And I think we're going to, again, my target is $9. I think it's going to go to $9. By the way, that's an exaggeration. I'm saying that's potentially can go to $9. I'm not saying it's going to go to $9. I think, it can go to $2, $2.50, $5, but there is the potential for $9. And look, just like I said that, peak fintech can go to $20 or whatever it is. It got very close. Who would have believed any of these things? Nobody would have believed these things at that time originally, right? So plenty of disbelievers and haters, and those are very important to have. If everybody believed in the story, the stock wouldn't be an opportunity. Again, I recommend you watch that video on our channel, which was, how to find it just was posted on Sunday night. Okay, so Neuran. Let's go to Neuran. What's happening with Neuran is, we had a triangle formation happening. Okay, and it's kind of breaking below it a little. It broke below this moving average. So when we introduced this a few weeks ago over here, it was breaking above the moving average, and really a really good setup to run. Really very strong setup. Of course, I highly recommend you watch the videos, talk about the fundamentals, but here's the bottom line is this. These guys building telecom infrastructure in Africa, rural areas. They have contracts in place with blue chip companies like Orange, MTN, to put up these towers and all that stuff. It's like a SaaS type of contract, so there's a recurring revenue, all that good stuff. Watch the video. There's a very clear path for this to be a $20 stock in the next 12 months. I think we may test the dollar. We may test the dollar. There is support here, but we may test the dollar, and that is going to be a very good opportunity. So yeah, so we're actually, yeah, there is support right here. Let me just draw you the trend line. I'll just do it like this. No, I didn't place it in the right area, but okay, it's actually like this. That's basically your support, right? That's your first level of support. The next one is at a dollar, but I think we are going to be bouncing somewhere from $1.10. We might see a little bit of a decline, very very possible, depending what happens in the market, and then we could see a massive bounce. Okay, so New Ryan is looking good. Let me give you another one, which I think could be a 25 bagger or 20 bagger. Pharma Drug, I think this could be $1 stock. Okay, this is the 1 hour chart. Let me do the daily chart. Can this be a $1 stock? I think it can. As you can see, it's made some big runs, and it can make a run very, very fast. Look at this. Look, in the past, this thing is this thing has been as high as 30 cents. These things, charts always go back to the old highs. They could always do it. I talked about that with CBDT back when CBDT was a nickel, and I showed you that crazy chart. Sure enough, it went to 250. So these guys have some incredible fundamentals right now in the drug development business. Again, I highly recommend you watch the videos. But yeah, I mean, where is this thing going to go? It's at a nickel. Excuse me, 4 cents. It's at 4 cents. Could it go to the 2.5 cent range? It could. It could. Why not? But I think most likely we're bottoming out here at 4 cents. So your downside of a stock like this is a couple pennies, 2 cents. Your upside is, let's call it $1. Let's call it $1. So that gives you 98 to 1, right? 98 cents upside, 2 cents. You're risking 2 cents to make 98 cents. That's what we call an asymmetrical setup. And that's what we look for in super stocks. Now, is it going to go to $1? Maybe not. Maybe it only goes to 50 cents. I know a lot of you guys will be happy if it goes to a quarter, you make 5x. And you know what? In today's market, the way things are right now, we're probably going to be in, we're not going to have 10 baggers happen in 4 months for quite a while. We're going to be grinding out the next year or so. You're going to have doubles, triples. We're going to have maybe one or two 10 baggers. But there's going to be plenty of money made in 5x, 4x type wins. Okay, so that's Pharma Drug. Here's another one we introduced recently. So again, we had a couple of stocks we introduced recently. Let's see. And again, the timing is not great. The timing is not great in this last 2 months. I'll put it that way. So this is a lithium miner, okay? Massive opportunity. Watch the video. They talk about the lithium project that they have in Quebec up there. They're right next to a couple of billion-dollar projects, infrastructure, everything is there. This thing could be what they have, their project, which they're drilling right now, could be $1 billion property. They think there's enough lithium in there for, what do they say, 20 million cars. I think, what is it, how many tons? But yeah, basically 20 million cars. Is that the number? Yeah, it's some impressive numbers. The price of lithium has gone crazy. If you believe in electric vehicles, Fortunately or unfortunately, electric vehicles are the future. These guys are going to need batteries. So lithium prices are, are going this way. Okay, so here is XTM, another new stock we have. Again, here's what you have going on here. Let me clear this out. Let me give you the chart setup, not even the fundamentals. So you have a pennant. There's a couple of pennants actually happening here. I did a slightly different one before. I drew it from a different angle. It was breaking out, but yeah, you have, and then you have the support line over here. Yeah, you got support. There's a lot of support lines over here. So I think we're kind of in this kind of support area, 37 cents. So we are below the moving average. This is flirted with the moving average. When we introduced the stock, it broke out above the moving average. It was a very positive indicator. Of course, the market really started falling apart, and that has not helped. And of course, other fintech stocks are, under pressure right now. So it is below the moving average. It is kind of in that support zone. But if this thing can break out of this pennant, we're going to see this thing go to probably $2, $1.50, $2. I think this is like I think it's a good solid triple in the next couple of months, and it's got that potential. And then if it does that, it'll be very interesting to see what could happen next. So, but I do think we're in a good position for that. But again, I got to tell you something. All these stocks, they're all below the moving average. So I'll put it to you that way. I don't think the companies will like me saying this, but when a stock is below the moving average, it's not positive. It's not positive. But again, these things are all flirting with that moving average. There've been a lot of fake outs here. So again, here you got another one, Liquid Avatar. It popped above the moving average, and it's been doing this fake out thing. But again, you have another situation here where this thing can really pop. It's the metaverse business. You had some really great chart setups in this. So I think we still have a very good chance of this thing making a big run to like 50 cents, $1. I really have like that dollar as a target here. Yeah. Organic Garage, I think I talked about this already more than enough, right? I think everybody's probably sick of me talking about it. Okay, ESC Entertainment. ESE, again, we're below the moving average. Well, it is what it is. You got support right here coming up. We might touch $1, very possible. But again, you can see that this thing is really keeps bouncing off that dollar. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to develop a beautiful, beautiful double bottom in that dollar range in the next month. You have this pennant happening. And from there, you have a very, very long base. You know who else had a very long base like this? And I kept saying, hey, it's going to be breaking out. It's going to be breaking out. Guess which stock that was? PKK, Peak Fintech. And it broke out. It broke out. It went from 350 to 7. We're at basically $14. So yeah, that was really incredible. Let's see here. What else do we have here? So we got ESC, Visby. What is going on with Visby? You can see what's going on with the moving average. We had a real opportunity to bounce off of 75 cents, and it broke below that support. So at this point, you got a little bit of support in this range, but really, I think we're going to hit 50 cents. It's going to test 50 cents. And from there, I think it's going to be a tremendous buying opportunity again. What else do we have? Yeah, so that's it for that is it for our super stocks. Tomorrow we're going to be introducing deep market. We got a couple of others, a few more in the hopper. But here's the thing: I'm looking at things right now. Like there's companies I'm looking at, whether it's these or others. I'm looking essentially as whether you get involved in these stocks now or whatever it is. I think the opportunity is going to happen between now and the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then we're going to see a massive run into the summer, very similar to exactly what we saw of March of from March to May of 2020. We had that big bottom, and then things just exploded. I think this summer is going to be an incredible time. Great comment. A couple of these, yeah. Listen, what did I tell you about the moving average, man? It's when it breaks below the moving average, ignore anything I tell you. Okay, when the stock is above the moving average, you want to be long. When it's below the moving average, you want to be out of it. But I think a lot of these stocks are getting, a couple of these things like Organic Garage, we're getting into that. Very close to the moving average crossover, which is going to be, I think, an incredible opportunity. But of course, this guy who makes the comment, I've noticed he's made some bunch of leaving, negative comments, very stupid comments, because I don't think this guy understands. Like this guy might be slightly mentally retarded in terms of. I think I had a comparison comparing Organic Garage or Origin Foods to Netflix. In the interview with Matt, and the idea, what was the concept of why is Organic Garage similar to Netflix, was because Netflix became successful as a result of having data on what their users liked, what movies, what the demographics were, so they had insight and data. As a result of that data, they were able to basically invest, buy, finance productions of movies, et cetera, shows which fit that demographic. That's how they became successful, because they knew, okay, whatever this program is, we have 2 million males 18 to 30 who are going to watch this, or we have 500,000 females, 20 whatever the numbers were. Organic Garage is that in that same situation for CPG. Why? Because this guy's been selling organic food for the last, I don't know how many years with the stores. They have massive information on what moves on store shelves. I don't think there's anybody in the game probably who understands better than what products work than a guy who owns the fucking store. It's almost like Netflix. So just like Netflix is a retail distribution for movies or whatever it is, this guy is, literally the retail distribution. He knows exactly what products move or don't move. So that is why they can be extremely successful with that type of data and insight into doing M&A activity, buying CPG, which is exactly what they will be doing. If you watch that video with Organic Garage, we talk about that the reason they're doing this split into the two kind of divisions is that the CPG business, they're not going to just be doing future of cheese, future of butter. No. They're going to be buying other brands. How are they going to be buying these brands? Because they can see, hey, this product is moving on shelves. Do you know how many people go into Organic Garage, go to Matt and say, hey, we got this great product. Check it out. Put this on your shelves. Nobody has better access to, let's call it, deal flow than this guy. So, you have a bunch of these plant-based stocks in Canada right now. None of them have as much insight as Organic Garage. So that is exactly what that's all about. And as far as charts, anybody watching this knows the deal here. Yes, we have a lot of these stocks are down, just like a lot of the blue chips are down, everything else. But in the meanwhile, from the time we introduced them, there's a massive run-ups. We've had, 8 plus 10 baggers, way too many doubles, triples to list. And I'm expecting many, many more winners. But the winners are going to start. I mean, we're planting the seeds for these big winners right now. Just like you saw in this period is very similar to August of 2020 to November of 2020. During that time, we introduced Fans Unite, CloudMD, Peak FinTech, Visibility Group, all those things. And by the way, all those stocks, they all started off very, very slow. If you look at the old charts of, Fans Unite, it took them a while to get going. Peak FinTech took a while to get going. But we were planting the seeds, which, you were able to harvest, 6 months later or a year later. They became 10 baggers, 20 baggers, 50 baggers. CBDT was a slow start. I think a lot of the stocks we're introducing right now, like Pharma Drug, PHRX, very, very similar. So yeah, I think we're planning. I think so. This, this cohort is sort of like, it's like exactly like the venture capital business. In the venture capital business, these guys make money when the successful cohorts, they call the cohorts, happen. When they happen, there was a cohort of 2002, 2004. Stop, the companies that they invested during that period when things were beaten down. Massive success. The cohort of 2000 during a frothy market peak, not quite as successful. So the real money is made, when you're buying things when the market is beaten down, when things are low, and we're starting to see that situation. So the setup is happening right now. We're getting into that setup for massive upside. Relic. So by the way, speaking of which, so Relic, actually Relic's program with us expired recently. So I think they're probably gonna be taking a break or something. I don't know. They got some internal things they're working out or whatever it is. So, Relic is not officially a client at this point. They might come back at some point. I have no idea, but so they're not on our program right now. It's always a delicate thing whenever I say this, because everybody's either angry at me when I say, "Hey, this company's no longer a client," or whatever, or they say, "Oh, this guy's bad mouthing the company," or I'm not. Everybody wants to know, is the company still working with you or not? I mean, what else can I tell you if a company is working with us or they're not working with us? So I'm not gonna, And by the way, Raya also, I think that they're basically Raya's. And that one was kind of a bit of a dud. Again, the thing that we're looking for, when people join our platform, the Next Superstock platform, the idea is that they're at that inflection point. And how do you know it's an inflection point? Massive news flow. Once a week, twice a month, 3 times a month. So, I was expecting it from Raya, and that didn't quite materialize. I think it's an interesting company. I think that they could do well long term. Certainly the stock is cheap here. But I don't have any insight really when it's kind of, I don't know, that one was kind of a bit of a dud. We've had duds during that same period of time when we introduced, all the big winners. That was a very successful cohort, that, August to December 2020 cohort. I think 90% of the stocks we introduced went up, and most of them became 10x or 5x at least. But we did have during that period 2 dogs at least. One was it PMed, Predict Medics or something, and then the other one was that TSX when the hydrogen in the cars, trucks or something. What the hell was it called? I forgot what it's called. I almost don't want to remember. But those guys, and what did they have in common? Though the duds was that they said that they would have news. and then they never delivered. So shit. So they didn't deliver on the premise of the next super stock program. So what can I tell you? Not quite true yet. Yeah, no, I would say, look, stocks were going up, but I know people say, "Oh yeah, Wall Street Report, these guys just got lucky because blah 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 blah." No, yeah, sure, stocks went up, but I don't think there's anybody out there who's got the track record that Wall Street Reporter has in consistency of these types of winners. You have to also realize there's a bunch of guys out there who have basically piggybacked their like a so-called off, off our work. Whether it's what is it, the what is it, these guys call themselves now, the stock fam, whatever it is. I mean, or whether it was that guy, what the hell is his name, Agoracom or whatever it is, goes around and say, "Oh yeah, we made this thing CBD." I think he was working with some of the similar clients, basically piggybacking off a lot of our efforts. And as you can see very clearly, you can clearly see the track record, because some of those companies are still like, look, there's a bunch of companies that are still using Agoracom. And you can clearly see what happened was when, they stopped, when they kind of, I don't know how to word this diplomatically, but yeah, when they were no longer a next on the Wall Street Reporter platform. You can kind of see what happened when they went off the Wall Street Reporter platform and when they went onto Agoracom. And since they were on Agoracom, they've been basically, dead or lower, or the volume dried up. I mean, you can go through the whole list. So there's a very clear, correlation, because now, this guy can't hide behind the track record and piggyback on the track record of Wall Street Reporter's next super stocks. Again, I'm sure he's a nice guy, whatever it is, but it just irritates me when, there's people taking credit for, piggybacking on the stuff that we're doing here. But what kind of stocks? That's a great question. Interesting question. Halliburton. All right, Halliburton. Let's take a look at that chart. Oil services, infrastructure. Look at this chart. Wow. Good looking chart. Yeah. I actually own some Halliburton. I bought the Halliburton. When did I pay? I think I paid $6 for it. So that was a very good, that was a thing that worked out. And of course, when was it? It was during that April time period of 2020. So the time you got to buy is, when there's fair, when the blood is running in the streets. Okay. On that note, I'm going to wrap up here. Make sure you press the like, subscribe button, join the channel. Join our Telegram channel. The link is in the video description below. Of course, let me add again, nothing here is a recommendation to buy or sell securities. The companies we talk about that are client companies, they're client companies. You can get the disclaimer, see the links. And we'll see you on the next live stream tomorrow, 1 p.m. Deep market, fantastic story. And then we have a couple more. I got a couple companies in the pipeline, and we even have Project X, the infamous Project X is in the works. So there's a bunch of really, again, it's always darkest before dawn, and the dawn is coming up. Next 4-6 weeks, we're going to see incredible opportunities. I'm just planting seeds right now, things that are going to become 10 baggers in the next 6 to 9 months. You got to get in them while they're ugly. The opportunity is only when they're ugly. When these stocks are beautiful, they're $50. That's when you want to be selling them. to the next guy. So with that said, thank you everybody. I will see you all on the next live stream.